Looks like I'm live. Hello. Nice to see you this weekend. Coming back from last weekend, which we weren't able to stream last weekend, or I wasn't. So we're gonna try to pick up where we left off. I'm actually gonna make a couple of notes to myself right now because so last weekend we finished. Well, we were working on the forearm. So I think what might happen today is we're kind of gonna jump around a bit. It's gonna be kind of like going from point to point. We might get stuck in on some certain areas, but it's gonna start to become like this adjustment phase where the majority of what's going on in the sculpt is starting to sort of form up and become much closer to final. So this is where we start to like dial in everything, and of course there's still details that need to be finished, so I'm gonna circle those areas here just so I like mentally take note of that, and I make sure to address those areas. But yeah, we're gonna just kind of see what needs attention and then give our attention to those areas, and then just kind of keep moving through stuff, making adjustments here and there. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this so that way I know I can have it on my my reference sheet. Okay. Where should I start? I think probably go in on the base of the tail. Because we haven't worked on the tail for a while. And there's also some stuff up here that I can modify. So I'll do that really quick. Seems like an easy way to begin the whole thing. Where the heck are my brushes? Let's start with this one. So what I'm noticing is that these ridges need just a little bit more emphasis. They feel a little bit too shallow, I suppose, like too low. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that. There could be a little bit more definition on these edges and stuff here too, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that stuff. Gaming arson. I want the game. What is DRP? Not sure what that means. Save this as a version. So we have a bit of a record of it. Blue Spy. Saw the dev blog. Nice progress. Oh, thank you. I haven't seen the dev blog yet. So I'm... Oh. Put in there. So you're talking about the Eocarcharia stuff? The like the aging development. Yeah, that's been a cool process to go through. Still tweaking a couple of things about that, but it's nearly finished, and then that EO should be complete. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at the dev blog when stream is done, because I'm really interested in seeing what everyone else has been doing. And Islander always does a good job of like summarizing and making it interesting. So a nice man. Yo, how's it going? How are you guys doing? How was your week? Or I guess it would be the last couple of weeks, right? Because we didn't stream last week, so it's kind of a lot to catch up on, I suppose. This is kind of getting... It's got 2 subdivisions. I might do a quick Z-remesh on this because it's getting kind of heavy, and I can feel it starting to like bog down the PC, or it's just like I may have talked about this before, but when meshes don't have lower subdivision levels, ZBrush doesn't necessarily it doesn't really like to perform very well, because it's trying to move around so many of these polygons all at once. It doesn't have like a lower resolution to jump down to move things, so it can kind of chug. So I might need to reduce the polygon count on this just a little bit. So we might have to do that now. Blue Spy, I've never thought about it before, but how do you do that kind of morph? Do you make it the adult and the hatchling and then just animate the growth? So I'm learning about it kind of as I go, because this is actually the first time I've done growth stages on a dinosaur before, but not like seamlessly moving from one stage to another, you know? But essentially you have the adult mesh, and then from there you modify the exact same mesh. You modify it to the baby proportions. And in Blender, there are these things called shape keys, and they blend from one stage of the mesh to another. It's like a slider. So you can have as many different shape keys as you want. And they don't necessarily have to be like just like body shape, like morphing from the baby to an adult. You can do other stuff too, like you can make the eyes blink, you can make the nostrils flare, you can make the chest inflate and deflate for breathing. You know, you can do all kinds of subtle like motion stuff as well. It doesn't have to be just like growth stage stuff. So I've been learning about that. One of the other devs has been teaching me how to do that stuff. So that's been pretty interesting. I'm gonna have to look at how this transition happens on the tail. Can't remember what I was using as a ref for this. Sorian, hello. Good to see you. Okay. So it does do that. It like, I was just trying to figure out like how to terminate some of these shapes. This is because like right here, on these crocs that I'm looking at right now, it goes from like, you have two blocks essentially, and then it goes straight into one. There's no like subtle transition. I think I'm gonna turn this into a 2-1 shape. And this is going to become like a little bit more of a wedge. These really, so it's kind of interesting because now that I'm coming back through the sculpt, I'm noticing other details that I wasn't noticing before, and it's kind of it's a bit of like course correction, yes, in a way. So we're going to kind of go through that a lot today, I think. See me like undoing and redoing areas. That just, just like finalizing ideas or like correcting them. Just because like, there's this concept of, what would you call it? The way it was described to me, it's like you guys know what nose blindness is. That's like, when like you might enter a room, right, and somebody's been smoking. When you enter that room, you can really sense that smell of smoke. But the longer you stay in that room, the more you kind of get used to the smell, and it just kind of becomes like nothing. Like it just turns into, you just don't notice it anymore. Or even like, I mean, I use smoking as an example, but like perfume does that too. Like if somebody's wearing like strong cologne or perfume, or has like lots of scents in their house, you might walk in and notice them really strong in the beginning, and then after you're in there for a while, you just stop noticing them. That kind of happens to artists and their eyes a bit. So it's kind of something that as an artist you have to pay attention to. The longer you work at something, the longer you stare at it, the more your eyes like get used to the way the thing looks, and it you can kind of, it's not necessarily that there's mistakes, it's just that you get used to the way the thing is, and you're not really noticing stuff that could be improved, or stuff that's not consistent, or stuff that like there's details that are getting past you that wouldn't normally get past you, basically. You're kind of settling into something that you're just kind of, you kind of just become a little bit blind to it. So that's kind of what's happening now, is like I'm going back to, this is a much older section of the model, right? Because if you guys remember, when we first started this model, we actually we did a bit of work of it on the head up here, and then we jumped all the way to the tail. I think that's how it worked, and we did all this stuff on the tail, and then we moved on to other areas. So this is a very early part of the model, actually. So now coming back to it after all these weeks, I'm kind of seeing it with a fresh pair of eyes, and I'm seeing stuff that I want to change. That's something like, as an artist, you just kind of have to, it happens, you learn to kind of account for it. Like, one good way to do that, this is comes from like a 2D drawing thing, but like one good way to fix your eyes, like reset your eyes when you're drawing, is flipping the canvas. So you see like a lot of, you watch digital artists paint, you'll see them flip their canvas pretty often if they're checking stuff. So that's a way to do it. It kind of refreshes your vision a little bit and helps you see those mistakes or like inconsistencies or like stuff that it just helps you see with fresh eyes, a little bit better. And then another way to do it is just to take time away from the thing that you're working on. So like, just like, I don't know, maybe sleep on it, work on something, then like take a night to get away from it, and then once you get back and into it, and the next day you can start seeing some stuff that you want to adjust. And then also just taking a lot of time away, like weeks, days. That also helps too, but you're not necessarily able to do that in a professional setting because people want stuff done like right away. So you're not always able to take that time. So it can be a little bit difficult. Over time, you kind of get a sense of like what you need to watch out for. So there's one thing that I'd like to incorporate on these, and I'm just observing the textures of the crocs that I'm looking at, and some of them have this like subtle grainy texture that just kind of goes like the length of the scale, like almost like a wood grain. And then some of them have these really like bumpy, see this stuff, very bumpy, but then you also have very smooth stuff like this. So I'm kind of trying to decide what I want on the Peru. I'm not sure quite yet. So I'm just going to focus on the main shapes, and then we'll figure out the surface design as a separate thing, probably. Gonna share some art in the Discord, Sorian. Okay, cool. Is there like, where's the, pull up the Discord really quick. Artwork. Oh, okay, cool. You have a blue sky. I am gonna give you a follow. And these are really cool. I like this. The silhouette of this Asdarkid, I think, is super nice. Yeah, these are all really good. In your latest post, do you use what's your favorite painting software? Is it like Procreate or something? Nice, man. I have some animations already been made for new Carcaria. Do you know that? Oh, have animations already been made for the new Carcaria? Do you know that? Yeah. Majority of the animations that were so the thing about the Carcaria is that the mesh was changed, but the proportions of the model are actually still the same. So like where the head is, where the legs are, where the arms are, all that stuff is still the same. So we can actually use the same rig for that that mesh. So we're able to transfer what the Carcaria already had onto the new mesh. There are new animations going onto that mesh though. I think they are reworking or like adding stuff. but a lot of what was there is already usable, you know. Um, so that's the really nice thing about um, uh, the way that the system is built. You know, the way that animations and stuff can be like remapped to things. So that helped a lot. Otherwise, we'd be like we'd have a um, lot of work to do still on the Peru. I mean, not the Peru, the EO. So. Yeah, sorry, and it's really nice work. I really like it a lot. Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see your posts. So I'll keep an eye out for them for sure. I've been you post much more frequently than I do, which is good. I've been struggling to keep up with my social media updates and stuff, so seems like you got it figured out and as far as that goes. Spino. Won't poo just crush through humans with ease? Probably. That's kind of the thing about being a human in a world full of dinosaurs, right? It's like you're definitely not the apex predator in your environment at all. That's also like one of the interesting things about making a game like this is balancing how that all like works together, so that way humans are still interesting to play, and are like actually viable in the environment with such like crazy animals. It's a challenge, I think. But I think not an impossible challenge, but it is a challenge. Will there be human mating? I doubt that. But I don't know. I mean, like can you have a child in the game? I don't know. I'm not a designer, so I wouldn't be able to confirm anything like that, but I guess that's just a funny way of putting it. I don't know if that would be like I don't know if there are many games that have you like raise a child in game, like a human child. I don't know if would that be a fun thing to have? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Yeah, I think I don't know if it if it were me making the game solely by myself, I don't think I would include it. But like I said, I'm not a dev, so seems like there's too many like issues with that. There's always a way to like, I guess, gamify things, but just because you can gamify something doesn't mean you should, you know. Okay, I'm trying to figure out exactly where this should terminate. So on this Cayman, these trackways like kind of nicely terminate into one line like down here. So maybe I should just do that. But it's actually probably going to be much further down, right here. How long does it? Let's see, where am I at in the chat? Toast bloke, welcome. I'm not sure if I've seen you here before, but welcome. I'm trying not to get my hopes too high, but I so hope this game becomes everything art should have been. This looks really promising and been enjoying seeing bits of the process. Yeah, I'm not really sure what like what let you down about Ark, just out of curiosity. I haven't played Ark. For admittedly like kind of shallow reasons, I think. I think the game looks solid and it looks like fun, you know. But I'm just not digging the visual style of stuff. Just like personally, I don't find the designs be that appealing. So you know, obviously as an artist, that plays a big role in like why I play games. Like I like playing games that, you know, they're visually interesting to me, you know. So that's a huge part of, like, if I'm like, for example, if I'm gonna work my butt off in a game to like get a new set of armor or like tame a new animal as a mount or something, you know, that whatever I'm working for better look pretty cool, because it's a huge motivator for me. If it doesn't of course there's like how it works in the game as well, like the stats and stuff, but visuals are a big factor, I think. But I'm curious to know what you didn't like, or again, not like knocking the game or anyone who's worked on it. It's just personal preference stuff. It's not like it's not a really objective thing to judge the game on. How long does it take to design a dino like this? Like just the mesh itself. And like getting the sculpt and stuff done, or like the whole process from beginning to end. Because for my part, it's only a few weeks, but there's a lot to do after I'm done with it, you know. Toast Bloke, I love the game, and ignoring the recent stuff, it's gone a long way from dinosaurs and primitive survival. Oh, it's like veered away from that sort of theme. Yeah, I actually don't know what's going on with Ark. Like the main game. And it's kind of hard to like, because there's so many mods and stuff for it. It's kind of hard to tell what's like really a part of the base game and what's just been like mods or like expansions or whatever. I don't know. It's hard to keep track of. Nice, man. The dinosaur models in Ark are not good in my opinion. Yeah, like I said, they're more like, they remind me a lot of like retro dinosaur design, which can be cool if you do it in a certain way, but for me they just don't hit, you know. They don't strike me as like, oh, that's badass or that's cool, you know. I want to fight that. I want to tame that, or I want to like invest time into like dealing with it in any way, shape, or form. It just doesn't strike my personal preference of, you know, dinosaur stuff. I'm pretty like, I don't know, the more I know about dinosaurs, the more I work on them, the more I get like it's just very hard to see past some stuff with like more pulp, like stuff in movies, stuff in more popular video games. Like it's harder to get past certain things, you know, certain design choices, because I don't know, these animals are really, not to say that you can't design dinosaurs in a way that makes them like more exaggerated or more like more what's the word, like stylized. You definitely can do that, but in my opinion, you can definitely tell who's done their homework and who hasn't. You can just kind of see it. Well, I definitely don't think if you're worried about the way the dinosaurs look and stuff in Echoes of Extinction, I don't think, you know, based on what I've seen and seen the other guy, you know, other devs working on, and my general sensibilities when it comes to sculpting and things like that, I don't think you'll have that problem. At least I hope. I hope you guys like the design so far. We are trying our best. Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you. Yeah. Toast and hoot. Thank you, guys. Toast was my. Is there something about my the way the name's laid out that is like visually weird? Because if that is a common problem people are having, I need to change it. I will admit I'm not the best graphic designer there ever was. So my little logo and layout and stuff like that, I don't give a ton of attention to. It's kind of crazy because I was originally gonna go into that's what I was gonna do for my major. Is I was gonna major in graphic design, because for some reason I thought that graphic design was like the more practical of the art jobs. But I ended up really hating it. There was actually a moment. So I never entered the graphic design program in my art school. But there were like required courses that you had to take that included like some graphic design stuff. And one of those courses was like an intro to Illustrator or something. And the beginning of the semester, I walk into the class and I sit down next to one of my friends, and the instructor starts going over our first assignment. And our first assignment is we pop up an Illustrator. We have this like sheet of shapes that we were loading up into the program. And then we were supposed to trace the shapes with the pen tool and like get them like perfectly exact, like as exact as you can. And I honestly, I started doing the assignment and I spent like 5 minutes screwing around with this pen tool. And I was just like, I'm not doing this. Like, I saw the semester unfold in my mind and like all the time that I would be sitting around doing this kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm not doing this. So I just left. I excused myself from the class. I went directly to my advisor and I was like, I can't take this course. Like, there has to be something else I can do. And fortunately, they were able to like substitute a different course for it and still like meet the requirements. So I didn't have to take the class. Because I honestly would have gotten like insane. But from my friend's perspective, it was pretty funny because he just saw me like get up out of my seat. He saw me come in. We started the assignment. He saw me get up out of my seat, and then I just never came back. Okay, so I need to get some of this stuff in here. Let me change my... Yeah, I was not gonna be able to handle that class, like just mentally. That's like normally like I'm the type of person that just like, because I don't want to cause trouble, you know. So there's a lot of times where I'll just like grin and bear it. I don't want to like make a fuss. That's like one of the first. Yeah, I think that was the first and only time where I was like, I cannot do this, and I just got the heck out of there. Because it's like, if you think about it, it's just not worth, like, art school is just so expensive. Like, every class that you're in should have your like full attention. It's really not worth, like, because you're spending like, I think it's like 15 weeks, you know, per semester. At least that's what it was in my art school, 15 weeks. And like, you go to that class twice a week for like 3 hours. All that time you're paying for the education. You should be getting what you want out of that education. It shouldn't be like some, I don't know, just some like busy work that you're like filling out just to get your credit, you know? I don't know. That's what I felt about it, and I just couldn't like tolerate it either. Like, it was like mind numbing. So I had to get out. What class did I end up doing? This is like years and years ago, by the way. It's that was just kind of like a tangential story that came to mind because we were talking about my logo stuff and the readability of things. But that was like, I was in art school from 2008 to 2012. 2008 to 2012 is my art school time. So that was quite a long time ago. So it doesn't really have anything to do with Echoes. Just a story that shows my aversion to typography and logo design and crap like that. Not very good at it. What class did I end up taking? I can't even remember. Some other digital art class that was like, that had some like graphic design elements in it, but it wasn't really like entirely graphic design. It was more like photo manipulation, like photo retouching, stuff like that, like Photoshop. I don't know, Photoshop manipulation stuff. Which I wasn't like super happy about that either. But it is the best that they could get me there. It was like so my school had like a foundations section, like a foundations course that you had to go through before you went into like your specific major and like what you would be studying. In my case, it was illustration, so I had to go through the foundations and then I get to do my illustration courses, which I don't know, looking back at things now, I think the illustration, I think the foundations program, like classes in my school were much stronger than like your average like art school, like I don't know, I don't even know if I can say that your average art school, but like they're much stronger than the art schools that were around at the time, generally. But they were still not, like, in hindsight, they were still not the greatest. They're not like schools like Art Center or someplace like that really break down the fundamentals of things and like show you how to like properly construct stuff in like perspective and like map things out, and like they get really analytical about their foundation stuff, and it really helps their students a lot, I think. So it was nowhere near that kind of thing, which is kind of unfortunate, because that's where young artists need the most help, is in their like learning how to plot out perspective properly, learning how to color theory is a huge issue. What else? Just like basic anatomy, Human anatomy, animal anatomy is a huge thing that gets overlooked. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that art schools in general could be doing better. It's one of the reasons why, like, well, I initially wanted to go to art center instead of going to the school I went to, but those schools are just so expensive, super expensive. And I just was not able to afford that stuff. So, and it would have been like way out of, because I was, I'm from Colorado in the States, and Art Center is in California. So for me and my family, that was just like too big of a distance, and like it was, I don't know if I would have been very good at like just handling that city, you know, because I think it's Art Center is like in, oh man, I don't know where it is. It's in Art Center College of Design is in Pasadena. So I don't know how I would have liked it there. I have traveled a lot to California and those areas like Burbank, LA. Since I graduated from art school, and like we took a couple of like road trips there to like several conventions that were happening, and I don't really like California, to be honest. No offense to anybody who lives in California, but I was not down for the vibe. It's probably better that I didn't go. Right. I don't think I would have worked very well as a Valley girl. But it's like, it's pretty interesting. It's like, in hindsight, and I've gotten this question from people as well, is like, is art school even like worth going to? Especially now when there's so many resources available online. I would have to lean towards no, because it's just so expensive, and you really need to research and understand what that program is offering before you go into it. And if it's not offering like absolutely everything you need, then I would say you're better off like just learning, you know, watching YouTube tutorials, going to conventions, like doing like there's other online art schools that have way better like targeted, focused courses that you can take, that'll pretty much get you the same results for way cheaper. Yeah, who I I think that the major thing, I don't know if it's necessarily like a fair, yeah, that I'm giving it a fair shot, you know, because like the vibe I got from like being in California is just like, it was very like, what's the word? It was very Hollywoody, you know, like people were there to like network and like they wanted and like talk, but like they only wanted to talk to you if you had something to offer them. And if you weren't like an important person, then they were just like very obviously not interested. Like in a rude kind of way. Or like a, I don't know, like a weird, it was just weird. I don't know. I didn't like it at all. It gave me like very like, icky vibes, you know, like people are just trying to get ahead, and they'll say and do things just to like get an opportunity, like a not everybody, of course, but it was definitely there. No art school could fix in uneven circles and dude, I have had pages and pages and pages and pages of just like circles and lines. There's a lot of exercises that you can do to like, or that people do to like stabilize their if you guys want to see somebody draw like really crazy, like very accurate, very straight lines, very like they're almost like a human like protractor, you know, like that type of person. Scott Robertson, he's actually he is a product designer, I believe, or he like designed lots of cars. And he designs a lot of like concepts for like sci-fi stuff. But he was an instructor at ArtStation, and he's a guy that I followed a lot and learned from. But if you watch him draw, especially like perspective stuff, like buildings, cars, spaceships, stuff like that, he uses just pen, like ballpoint pen, or like what do they call it? Yeah, just mostly ballpoint pen, I think. And he is super, super, super accurate. Like he's like pulling straight lines across his page to create grids and like map out perspective points, doing like these perfect ellipses to create like wheels and stuff like that. It's crazy. I did not get that good at that. I'm okay, yeah, but I'm super like, right, I say that, but I'm super out of practice. I haven't done those types of exercises in a long time. It's been like since maybe like 2014, 2013 since I've like seriously done any of those, like, because they're just like little like they're like warm-up exercises just to keep yourself like sharp. But I haven't really done those. I don't really do warm-ups. I just kind of wake up and drag myself to my computer and just get on with the day, you know. Yeah, check him out. It's pretty amazing to see him draw. What was I gonna say? There was something that I was gonna say based on one of your comments. Slipped my mind. The train is gone. Okay. Today is tomorrow's warm-ups. Yep, that is exactly right. I always wonder about like, because you'll see like YouTubers where they're like, oh, this is my schedule. Like every day I wake up and I do these things. You know, I do this, I have this for breakfast. I do these exercises. I do these like, and like artists will always talk about, I do like a certain amount of warm-ups before I get started with work. And I don't doubt like some people probably do that, but I'm like, I don't know. I was like, where do you find the time to have that? How do you do like an hour? Like, how do you do like a full warm-up painting before your day starts, you know? I don't have time. I just get up and like grab my coffee and get to it. There's no warm-ups. I think if I made like a day in my life sort of vlog or whatever they call it, it would be like totally like not. It might be kind of funny to do because it would be totally the opposite of whatever is out there. It would be like totally unorganized and probably very like, because it's like I wake up, I have my coffee, I sit at my computer, I start drawing. Every now and then I get up to let my dogs out, get more coffee, and, you know, rinse and repeat until the end of the day. I don't think it would be very interesting. I need to get this. I'm focusing a lot of my attention on those scales, which I do think they need a little bit more work, but I need to fill in these belly scales a little bit more. So that's what I'm going to focus on for the next few moments. I just think they need a little bit more definition. Well, the dogs are sleeping right now. They it's still really early, pretty early in the morning. They usually won't get up and like start really being active until like 10. especially on the weekend. So I'm kind of just two of them are here with me in my office, because like the moment they hear me wake up, they want to be fed. So I got them breakfast. I let them have a quick potty break outside, and now they're just sleeping. Yeah, but I have 3 little dogs. If they wake up before the end of the stream, I'll call them over here, and I'll see if they can make an appearance. How much more time do I think I'll need for Puru? How much? I think I talked about it before. Let me try to remember what I said. So usually it takes me about 2.5 weeks to get a model done. Right? So it's like, and that would be like consistent like working hours, right? So if I were able to focus on it like 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, it would take me 2 to 2.5 weeks. So that's what, 40, 80, about 100 hours. And we've got 19, we're in 19 streams. I think 19, and we stream for 2 hours each. So I'm at 38 hours on this model. So I would say conservatively, we're about halfway. We are halfway there. Scales on alligators are called scutes. Yeah, I think it depends on, like, there's so many different structures that you can have with scales and how they're organized and like what part of the body they're on, and so I'm not exactly sure why they're defined the way they are defined. As a matter of fact, let me see. Because I think a scoot is it says here, a bony external plate or scale overlaid with horn, as on the shell of a turtle, the skin of crocodilians, and the feet of birds. But see, that's kind of strange, because it's kind of like, is that referring to every single scale on the body, or just the ones that have bony associations? Because the ones with bones are the ones on the back here, and those, I think they would be called osteoderms, because they have the bony interior. I don't know. I don't know exactly the anatomical excuse me, the specific anatomical features of the things, but I think for the most part, scoot is a good general term. So one thing that I want to make sure I'm including, so these scales have like just the very slightest little like overhang. Very, very, very slight. At least I think that's what I'm seeing. Let me see. Yeah. It's very, very slight though. So I want to make sure that I'm including that like slightly overhanged edge onto the adjacent like surface, which I'm not incorporating right now. They're very separated. So I want to make sure that this feels like it's overlapping just a tiny bit. Then this needs to be a little bit toned down. Yeah, there's probably a lot of different distinctions between scale types and like the structure of the scale. Oh my gosh. Tifa, come. Okay. So we have a guest. Hello. This is Tifa. She woke up. She's harassing her brother. What are you doing? Started to bark at him. He's sleeping. She's still a puppy. So she's got a ton of energy. And her brother is an old man, and she doesn't. He's like trying to sleep right now, and she wants to play. And he's very grumpy. Tifa. Are you guys able to hear her barking? I might need to take her to my wife. She's gonna be too loud. Let me know if you can hear her yapping back there. And I'll I can take her out of the office. Gizmo, when are you going to work on the colors, or is someone else doing that? So currently, it's hard to say. We do have a couple artists who specialize in just like skin designs. So there are people who have already done concepts for the Peru. I'm kind of torn between just like using one of those concepts as like the Peru demo like skin like on stream, or if I should do one myself. I think currently the thought is that we'll just use one of the other artists' skin colorations, and I'll just texture it according to that concept. I think it'll be an interesting process either way. If you want to see me design a skin, I can design a skin on stream, or we can just go into the texturing. I don't have a strong preference right now. I'm cool with either way. The skin designers that we have are really good, and they're very familiar with. Some of them were on Echoes of Extinction before I even joined, so I feel like they have a good sense of what the game needs and what the game, like what everyone's looking for in terms of the look and feel of the skins in the game. So I'm pretty trusting in their ability to come up with a very good skin for the Peru. I don't necessarily need to do it myself, so I don't know. It can be either or, Let's see. What made you join Echoes of Extinction? I mean, it's like at the basic level, it's a video game involving dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs, so projects that involve dinosaurs are gonna always attract me. I previously worked with one of the other devs that is on the development team on a separate project. So I really valued, you know, her opinion, and she recommended me for this position. So that's part of the reason why. And then I was able to, after that recommendation, I was able to meet with Islander, and he was able to like show me like everything they've achieved, like all the current plans for the game, all that stuff. So we had a pretty long conversation about like what the game was and the goals and all that stuff. So I felt pretty comfortable with everything. So that's why I decided to join. What is happening? That was a weird glitch. So yeah, it's just, I feel like a lot of the people that are working on Echoes of Extinction are very like-minded. We have similar goals. We want to see a game like this be a reality. So we're willing to work and put in the time to achieve that. It's kind of hard finding people like that, who are interested in the stuff you're interested in, who are good to work with, who are very skilled and like capable of actually like executing, because there's a lot of people out there that'll like, they have these really big ideas and they make them sound really cool, and but they just don't have the ability to execute on those ideas, which not always their fault. But if you're making these big promises and you're not able to deliver on stuff, that's a problem. But that's one of the concerns that I had. But when I spoke to Islander, they were pretty quickly set aside. So when you find a community of people like that to like collaborate with, I think it's pretty valuable opportunity. So I wanted to contribute. So I am. I can hear, but it's not annoying. Okay, cool. She has a very so she's a really tiny dog, but her voice is like very loud. She has a very strong bark. Like a startling bark. Like that level of volume. It's crazy. She's not using her full volume at her brother right now. If she like heard another dog bark or something, she would go kind of nuts. I gotta adjust the borders of these scales. Okay. So I need to define a little bit more of these side scales here. Mask this out. Okay. Just trying to find the right reference for this. Okay. I'm starting to notice that a lot of I might need to add more volume to the edges of some of these scales. Because, so like, especially near the base of the tail here, these scales, like if you were to look at them in side view, they look like they're kind of flat and then they get very round, and then the next scale pops in and gets very round, and then another one is pretty round. And currently my scales are very like that. They're very, there's not as much height, and that happens like majority of the length of the tail. And then when it gets to this part here, which is like more of the paddle surface, it begins to be very flat like this. So I think that's an adjustment that I will need to make. We can do that fairly easy, but it's just something, it's something that I'm noticing right now. Like this here. The bottom of this still seems to be pretty flat. Like that area there. So it's like kind of like a gradient. But up here, this stuff can be like popped a little bit. So if you look at that from the side, you see the height there. And it can probably be even more than that, to be honest. Based on what I'm looking at here, my refs. I think it'd probably be more than that. And then these little areas in between the scales. So it's kind of weird, like these aren't perfect like shingle shapes. They're actually rounded. They go like indicated here, they go like around like this. They have this rounded edge, and then the next one has this rounded edge, and then this little, I don't know what you would even call it, this like chevron shape or whatever. It can actually have its own like little dimension, like little volume surface stuff going on. But they do have like a nice like crease here that's very defined. So you can see where like, and it's not consistent like all the way down. Like there are some irregularities. Sometimes they do end like this. Sometimes there is like just a line. It's not always divided in that round shape. But just for the sake of like, I like to make little rules for myself to like simplify things. Like, because all this stuff can be so complicated. Like, just trying to identify these patterns and shapes within nature. Sometimes it's nice to be able to say like, okay, the scales terminate like this sort of way, and then you just apply that rule to whatever you're working on, and it'll look natural, but it's also like not overly difficult to like maintain the consistency of stuff. I like to find little opportunities like that, because this whole thing can easily become pretty overwhelming if you let it. Like I've definitely had those moments doing other scale patterns on other animals where it's just like you're just looking at a wall of scales and it's like, oh my god, this will never be done. So thankfully it hasn't happened on this. That actually hasn't happened to me for a while. Once you like start getting into the flow of like how scales work and like start developing your systems of how you achieve certain effects, and you can the overwhelming like daunting aspect of them kind of goes away. It's just about like executing your techniques, and mapping things out properly is the challenge. So I'm gonna do the same here. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I tend to like there is a certain amount of I guess like mental stamina. At least that's how I kind of think about it. Like you know, and that stamina is like finite, like it's not infinite. At least for me it's not. So I have to find ways to like make the most of the energy I have, because yeah, it can become very mentally like taxing to deal with like super complex patterns, skin, like shapes. And different people have different tolerances for different things too. Like I would say I have a high tolerance for scale work. And she's going off. Tifa, come. Tifa. Come here. Where are you? Sorry. Yeah, I was saying, I feel like I have a pretty high tolerance for like scales and stuff like that. Whereas other people might not. But then, like, for example, I was watching this like featurette sort of thing on YouTube about the Transformers models. They're talking about in the second Transformers movie, there's this character called Devastator, and it's this giant robot that's made of like 3 other robots or something. But the level of complexity that's in that model is like so ridiculous. Like I don't even know how somebody would even try to come up with like to even work on that, you know? Like the level of complexity in that sort of thing like just boggles my mind. I don't even know how you would, but obviously somebody did, or maybe it's not even one person, maybe it's multiple people, but like even to work on like maybe even like a part of like the arm of a robot like that would be insane for me to do. I do not have the mental stamina to do that. So it depends on what it is, you know. I have the patience for days to do scales, but if you ask me to do like complex little robot parts, I'm not gonna be able to do that. It's a good thing this game doesn't have robots in it. I have designed robots before. it wasn't too bad, but then again, like I was just doing concept art. I wasn't doing like sculpting on it. So I'm tucking in this. I'm overlapping I'm overlapping this edge here, right? But then I'm also like tucking in the leading the back edge of this to create just a little bit more of an overhang. And then I need to, where is this? I'm getting like this weird bend here because I'm not adjusting the height of things evenly, so I gotta fix that. I still want to keep this. So this area under, like underneath the tail here, drags on the ground a lot. Or this part wouldn't drag while they're walking because it's held too high. But like when they're laying down, this whole surface down here would be laying on the ground. So those tend to be flatter, like more worn down. So I'll take care of that. Those feel nice and kind of flat-ish. Does this have... Okay, I need to Z-remesh that too. As a matter of fact, let's try that. I'm gonna save first because Tifa. What was I saying? So I saved. I'm going to duplicate this mesh. Tifa. I'm going to duplicate that mesh, and then we're going to try to quickly remesh it because like I'm not going to spend a ton of time trying to get it perfect. 1 second. Okay. Duplicate this mesh. Turn off all the other meshes so that way they don't interfere with the projection. Let's see what my polygroups look like. polygroup. Tail. Okay. We'll see how this goes. Delete lower layers. Fake those. Delete lower. Crease. Polygroups. Mesher. Keep groups. Keep creases. Z mesh. I like all the Godzilla stuff in the background. I'm a big fan. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm a huge Godzilla fan. I've watched Godzilla since I was really young. I think I would credit Godzilla as part of the reason why I started drawing in the first place. So he's a very special guy to me. So yeah, I have a lot of artwork and figures. Mostly like SH monster art stuff. I really like the SH or like the Bandai, the Tamashii Nation stuff. Haya Toys is making a lot of cool kaiju stuff too lately, so I might check out some of their figures just to see how they compare. I don't know if you have any of those. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on them if you do. But yeah, those are mostly like, I have like Godzilla, Pacific Rim, Digimon, Power Rangers. Those are mostly like, I have some Monster Hunter stuff. And then like some like other movie stuff. Like I like Del Toro, Guillermo del Toro movies a lot. So I have some of like Pan's Labyrinth and like Shape of Water figures and some other posters around my office. So just trying to surround myself with like inspiring stuff that makes me want to work and stay motivated and things like that. Okay, so you can see here, this is the simplified mesh, so it's much lower. It's 15,000 polygons as compared to 22 million. So what I'm gonna do is reproject the detail from the high one to this low one, and then we'll subdivide the mesh to get more levels of detail back. So you can see how it's like rebuilding itself. But this mesh that I'm rebuilding here is going to be way more efficient than the other mesh that we were working on, because the topology is mostly it's going to be because I can move the mesh around and it will revert to this lower topology version while it does that, so it's much more clean to navigate. But also some of the topology flow is a little bit better. It's not like perfect. You'd have to retopologize this manually to get that to work much better. But for now, like for our purposes, this will work fine. Warhammer minis. I was into Warhammer for a while too. That I can definitely understand that. those minis are expensive and they take a lot of time. I found out the hard way how much time they take, and that's one of the reasons why I unfortunately had to like, yeah, I kind of had to abandon the hobby because it just was too much, you know. I still follow it though, and I still like watch people play online and stuff, and I do like follow like the newer models that are coming out and things like that. I played the Warhammer, the newer game that came out not too long ago. That was pretty fun. So I'm so it's taking a while right now because it's projecting 15 million polys. So this is starting to get up there in terms of poly count. So this is, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how this projection ends up. Yeah, I had a Terminid army, and I just was never able to find the time to paint it all up, so it was just, they were just sitting in boxes and I was just not able to get around to them, so I donated them to someone who would actually be able to play it. Okay, so if you look at this, right? So this is the new mesh. This is the old mesh. So they're pretty much 1-to-1. You can see a little bit of like nastiness happening over there, which is fine. I can clean that up. I'm just checking over the whole mesh. There's a little bit of nastiness there and there, which is to be expected because those surfaces are so close to each other. That's okay. We can clean that stuff up. It just takes a little bit of smoothing. Get that grossness out of there. And then we can redefine those areas. But for the most part, this is a good projection. I have no problem with this. This is like one of the, later on though, like if we have to reproject many times, these little areas are going to be issues. Because they're so close to each other, the mesh wants to... You're projecting one surface to another. So when you have two surfaces that are close, some of the surfaces from this side get projected onto this side. And you get these like crisscrossing pieces of topology, which kind of sucks. But there's different ways of handling it. And it's like once you like work on this type of stuff for a long time, you can kind of predict where they're gonna happen. So it's kind of unavoidable. But we do the best we can. And it's not too bad. Just clean that up there. What is happening there? Something is being pulled out. That's really weird. Where is that going? We'll figure it out soon enough. Something's being like stubborn there. One thing that we can do though is I can mask out just that little area and then just reproject that little tiny spot. $15 million sounds like a lot, but I really don't know anything about making models like this. 15 million. Oh, look at that nice little mess that happened right there. That's great. 15 million is, it is a lot. It's not like the highest subdivision that I've ever gone. I've gone to like 60 million. For one subtool. I think the limit that I have on my machine right now is 100 million polys. But that's just for one subtool. So like you could have another subtool in the scene, and that could be another you know 100 million. But I usually don't. Like if you have to go that high, then to get like certain details, then I would say, depending on the detail, like if you're working on a model and you're trying to get like in here and you're trying to like do all these little like crazy little details, in all likelihood, the surface of your model isn't going to be able to capture that detail because it's too small. So you're going to have to divide even higher. And at a certain point, those types of details are just better to handle with texture maps than trying to represent them with actual geometry. Because it's just too resource heavy. Like all of these little like bumps and stuff that you would be, like scratches and stuff that you would be adding in here, those can easily be done in a texturing package like Substance Painter or something. So we're not gonna go like I'm all down for, you know, maximizing the detail and stuff, but that's a little bit crazy. So we won't divide that. We won't divide beyond this. But when I'm talking about efficiency, right? This isn't like max. Again, it's not maximum like efficiency, but like the level of detail I'm receiving here for 15 million polys is the same level of detail that I'm getting here for 22 million polys. So I'm saving a few million polys while at the same time having my file perform better because you see how fast I can rotate that? Like, because it's reverting down. It's only moving, technically it's only moving 15,000 polys. This is a 15,000 poly thing. It's only going up to the highest resolution when I stop. So it's much easier to manipulate. So I can actually go to that file and then the subtool and delete that because I don't need it anymore. And then so now this whole stack is lighter because we made we z-meshed this thing. Oh, okay. So I think that's the last move I'm going to be able to achieve on this model for today. Yeah, which I think is a good thing. You know, we optimized the mesh. We were able to get a little bit more efficiency out of it. We did a lot of detail on the tail, like restructuring of the tail and stuff. Let me turn on all this so you guys can see the full, not the full mesh. I guess he's missing his arms on the other side, but you know. So we got this area mostly focused on here. Still more to do there. So we'll probably keep going on that next weekend. And yeah, we'll just keep moving. As always, you know, thank you guys for coming in, talking to me, asking questions. I really like the questions that you asked today. I really appreciate the engagement. And I will see you next weekend. There's no like, I don't think I'm busy next weekend or anything, so stream should go up at the same time as usual. So we'll keep going on the Peru, and yeah, thanks again. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.